The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break!
With Ambar Garcia, Bryan Broaddus, Nick Harris, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Tuesday, December 17th, 2024, season 20, episode number 87. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, presented by LG. LG is the world's #1 OLED TV brand for 11 years and counting. See why at lg.com/OLED Evo. Welcome to a Tuesday. Today's Big Picture Day. Today we'll hit lots of different topics. In the opening segment, we're going to talk a little bit about this defense, and I want to talk about Mike Zimmer in particular, and talk about what we think of him and where we think he is relative to what we thought of him coming into this year.
My questions today.
I mentioned it yesterday. We were going to talk about that.
Brian.
Sorry, man. And then
Has Mike Zimmer been better than Dan Quinn?
And then we will get to that. And then in the second segment, we will go inside the brain of Bryan Broaddus, and he'll have lots of questions for us. One of them will not be about Zimmer. We'll talk about him in the first segment, and then we'll try to take some questions. You guys can hit me up on Twitter, or you can call us, 1-888-855-2297, and we'll try to get some questions from you guys. And if you have any comments, you want to just talk to the crew here, we always love to hear from you guys. So hit us up, and we'll see what we can do to engage you in the show. Let's start first with the Cowboys defense. Real quick, before we get into the conversation of Mike Zimmer, I do want to at least spend a little time talking about Trayvon Diggs. What is I guess it all kind of came to a head over the weekend where, oh my God, he's not traveling. Yeah. He's going to probably be out for the rest of the year. Yeah. What do we know about that and how it developed to the point to where it is now, and when can we expect to see him back on the field?
Yeah, so it is the same knee that he dealt with last year, but there was the issue that he had been battling most of the year was fluid in his knee. Yeah. And it had bothered him, and it kept him out a couple of games. And then he goes and plays, 70-something snaps against the Bengals. They come in, and he has a little bit of discomfort early in the week. They do some testing and some imaging. He's still limited in practice early on, and then Friday is when they kind of come to the determination that he's dealing with that chondral issue, which is it's like the cartilage at the end of your bone in your knee. Yeah. He's dealing with some issues there and needs surgery to repair that injury. So I'm not a doctor or anything. I'm trying to communicate it as best as I can, but the recovery is looking like about 8 months, and that would put him. Stephen Jones has, Stephen Jones has some confidence.
Sorry, I'm counting on my fingers.
LSU.
Yeah.
Stephen Jones has some confidence that he'll be back by week 1, but definitely looked at training camp and was like, we might not have him at camp this year. Yeah. So, that's definitely going to be one that we will be tracking all off season in hopes that he can make it for week 1. So we're looking at him and DeMarvion Overshown already as potential missing time in 2025, and we haven't even ended 2024 yet. So,
how concerning is it that someone like Trayvon is now going to miss the entire offseason? Because you look at it, he's now
happened
had
to him last year,
that's 2 years in a row now where he doesn't get the offseason, won't have training camp this year. And when you're trying to get to a point where you kind of really, the offseason is when you're preparing your body for the rigors of NFL football, right? You're getting yourself ready. How much does that concern you?
It's huge. It's huge because, you went through this all of last year, and there's so much unknown now that it's one thing to have one injury, but to have two. And this man makes his living with his feet, his knees, his legs. I mean, that's what he makes his living with. And the fact that you've had now 2 major surgeries on those legs, it doesn't bode well. And especially when you're talking about cartilage injuries and bone-on-bone situations, and what's the next step? Is it always going to be completely? Is it going to be better? You kind of feel like when you fix a knee one time that things are going to be okay, but this is a very significant injury. And initially you thought, okay, scope, clean it out, that kind of thing. No, this is a very, very serious injury. And then I know talking to trainers and doctors around the league, they've microfracture. You hear that? That's a scary thing when you start to talk about what's the next step or the potentially next step. And, that's very few have dealt with that and come back and played at a very, very high level. Not to say it hasn't happened. It's just it's a very, very difficult thing to deal with.
I mean, one key injury is already bad enough, and then you start adding everybody else that's on that list, including your quarterback, because they're recovering from surgery, and there's that unknown of how are they going to look when they do come back from injury, because most often than not, it takes multiple weeks for them to get back, and sometimes they don't even go back to what they used to be. So it's going to be a very, very challenging off-season for the Cowboys as they try to manage this roster and also try to figure out that unknown of these guys, key players, what's going to happen with them and how are you going to address all these issues. But, man, for this secondary, just a terrible, terrible hit. Deron Bland, I think he's on track. He's been looking good with his recovery, him coming back from injury, and so far so good. And we still don't know what's going to happen with Jordan Lewis as far as his future here with the Cowboys. And then now add this Trevon Diggs injury. It really sucks for this team. The
positivity will be coming probably from the draft, but I think they'll be going into training camp when we all get back on that train in July. I think there'll be a lot, like Ambar's talking about, a lot more questions instead of, sure, there'll be some positivity about some of the players they got. And if they don't play in free agency, then it'll be like, well, okay, where is this team at? The Commanders look like they're a better team. The Eagles clearly are the class of the division. Right now it's you and the Giants that are but I think the positivity, just like she's talking about with all the injuries, not just the Diggs, but the Dak injury. Look at the situation with Wanye Thomas and Bell. I mean, all these guys that you kind of counted on, and then what guys are you going to lose? I think teams I think the media, the fan base is probably going to take a big step back and say maybe this team isn't as good going into the season as it was coming into 2024.
Well, good thing is that there's still 3 games left on the schedule, and with that, you get a chance to look at depth and the guys that you currently do have. And
have we seen depth all year?
we have, but you get a different look and more time to see real game situation. Again, it's very hard to replicate real games. You can't do that at practice. It just does not look the same, and it doesn't give you the same results that you're looking for. So it's just another opportunity to look at what you have in younger guys and in depth to maybe give you a better idea of what you can do or who you can keep during this offseason.
All right, when you look at the Cowboys defense right now, we're gonna move a little bit, but continue to talk a little bit about injuries as well. When you look at the Cowboys defense, how well they've played, I saw this morning Joseph Hoyt put it on Twitter. I thought it was an interesting tweet. He said that to this point, the Cowboys for the season are the 26th ranked defense relative to EPA per play allowed, right? Over the last 4 games, they're 5th in the NFL. A big difference, obviously, in the last 4 games. Now, part of that you have to consider is the competition that they were up against. Yeah. Now, I will also say they played an equally poor team in week 2 in the Saints, and the Saints kicked their butt, right? Yeah. So you can say that, but they've lost some bad teams this year, too. They've been equal opportunity providers there when it comes to giving losses. But that all being said, they've played a lot of this season without some of the key guys on defense: Parsons, D-Law, Diggs, Bland, Overshown, Williams, Nealon. All that being said, how much deference do you give Mike Zimmer and this defense when it comes to the injuries and all the guys that they had to play without, and having to kind of get his defense going when you try to evaluate him as a play caller for the season?
Yeah, if I look at everything after, I would say, week 7, give or take, then yeah, I think you can give some deference to that, and you understand the challenges that he's been battling throughout the year as a coordinator, because man, it's defensive end, it's linebacker, it's corner. I feel like the safety position might be the only one that hasn't really had a lot of a turnover this season because of injury. So I have to give credit to Mike Zimmer because he's been dealing with a lot of guys. And you look at Josh Butler, how he was able to step up. Amani Oruwariye's had a couple of strong outings. Carl Lawson was a guy that we didn't even think might make the team out of training camp, and he's become a legitimate pass rusher for them. So with what the pieces he's dealing with over the course of the last few weeks, you got to give credit to how he's put it together from a defensive coordinator and a play caller standpoint.
Yeah, I give him tons of credit and a lot of respect because even though we talked about it yesterday, Bryan mentioned the whole, would have been good for him to have everybody buy into his new system and new scheme earlier on to potentially win you some of this game. You got to look at it the other way too, looking at all the injuries, all the things that he's had to battle through, but also with the season, how it was going and how it's been going. How do you keep players motivated and wanting to go out there and compete and not give up and not throw in the towel and say, hey, whatever? And I think you've seen that with this defense over the last few weeks, that they're actually going out there, putting in the effort and playing at a high level, or at least the highest that you can possibly given the situation. So to that, I think it can be very challenging just keeping guys wanting to still put in the time during the week in preparation and then go out there on Sunday and fight and battle and do what they need to do to take care of the game and help their offense. So I think I mentioned it yesterday. At first, I was skeptical because of some of the results, but as the week went on, I'm very impressed, and I would not mind him coming back and being here again with the Cowboys.
You jumped. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, no, it is one of my favorite new things. I'm kind of falling in love with these numbers and looking at numbers and stuff.
Big numbers guy.
I never was.
Brian.
Never was, but I was looking at overthecap.com and they talk about contracts and stuff. And you mentioned about Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson's playing like a player that's like over $13 million in value, $14 million. Mm-hmm. He's playing like a $14 million a year
premium position
player, and he's making $1 million. And so, here he is. He's playing $13 million over value of what the player, of how you determine his, how you determine what he's doing. And that's super impressive to me but you are getting guys that are playing now, whatever. I'm used to seeing, and I've always talked about the Osa fall off. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen the Osa fall off. Mm-hmm. You're getting some guys you're getting a Carl Lawson who, man, we were sitting there at training camp and they just kept throwing names at it, and they finally hit it right. And we were all worried about Carl Lawson. I know I was. I'm like, well, Carl Lawson playing the run well. Well, he's playing the pass and the run well for you right now. So Zim deserves a lot of credit. I tell you where I really do like Zim, and I've been with him, known him a long time. I think that he's done a better job and one of my questions was about him and Dan Quinn. So this is how I'll answer this question then. The thing that I like about Mike is I think he knows how to match his guys up against their weakest opponents. I think he's kind of figured out how to, like, how many times have we seen, and this is really no disrespect to Dan Quinn, but how many times have we seen Micah Parsons taking rushes against Trent Williams of the 49ers or Lane Johnson of the Philadelphia Eagles? And you're just like going, man, you're beating your head. This is a wash. This is good versus good. Zim has kind of figured out how to get his really good players on their bad players. And I appreciate that, because that's what, to me, when you go out and you advance scout and you look at it and you're thinking, what's this all about? Teams try and hide their bad players. Mike finds your bad player and takes advantage of that. And that's what I appreciate about him the most, and that he's taking guys like Parsons, Osa, Lawson, Wilson, whatever he has to do, he's found ways to attack these offenses by just some of the matchups. And I think that's where I want to give him a lot of credit.
Yeah, I feel like Dan Quinn at times last year got better at that because we saw Micah Parsons lined up over zero tech many times, lined up over center at zero tech many times. We saw him moving around quite a bit. I agree with you, but I think Dan Quinn did get a little bit better at that last year specifically.
Yeah, I just, to me, it's I see it. Maybe it's because of Parsons, but I see it with all his players. Gotcha. I see it, and maybe some of the things that's helped Osa not be week 14 go away. Osa could be his contract that he's trying to get. Maybe better conditioning. Maybe the fact that oh, wait a minute, he's going against their fifth best offensive lineman. I don't know if we always saw that, but I respect what you're saying.
I will tell you this: the one thing that I'm keeping an eye on that I think I like more about Zimmer is it feels like at this point he may have finally solved the enigma that has been the running defense for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, we're going to find out these next 3 weeks because you got some teams coming in here who can run the ball, particularly when you play Philly. We're going to find out how good this run defense is, right? But I will say this. So far, I look at what they did, and I know these were bad teams, not the Giants so much from the standpoint of what I'm talking about with rushing, but Carolina has a really good rushing attack. That runner is really good.
That's how they've been competitive the last 3 weeks.
He is a really good runner, and he's run against some good defenses in this league and run well. Cowboys held him to 30-something yards. I think right now that's the part where if I'm trying to compare the two, I look at the run defense and I say, man, finally maybe somebody has solved this run defense problem that has been kind of popping its head up really for the last several years. It's been this ongoing thing of you get to this week and just you cannot figure out how to stop the run. And I think that might actually, Zimmer might be on to something.
Dallas is fifth in the NFL over the last 3 weeks in rushing yards allowed per game, 83.3. So
they're doing quite well.
Also, I feel like you've started to see a little bit more discipline just from the defense as opposed to last year. I feel like that kind of started taking a drop off with discipline overall and penalties. Not to say that they've played a completely clean game at all, but you see guys just tackling better, running better, being more on their assignment and do what they need to do. And again, I love Dan Quinn, and I think he was very, very well respected by everyone here and the players in the organization. But there's something different about what Zimmer has been able to implement in the whole defense. And also, not to make Micah Parsons like he's the, I mean, I know there's a lot of debate there, but I guess what I'm trying to say, when you get a guy like him to respect you and buy in, and again, I'm not trying to make Micah like the biggest diva in the world or anything like that, but it helps. It helps when you have a guy like him buy into what you're selling and everyone kind of follows, and it's just, he just made it better than what it was last year. And there were things that Dan Quinn was able to do also. And again, he didn't have to deal with as many injuries. And I think with the turnovers, that's something that you're starting to see in these last few weeks where it was lacking this year, but now it's starting to pick over. And you see the kind of things that they're practicing out there and just reflecting back to the field in the game.
Yeah, we will. Now we have to move on to a much more complex question, which we'll have to save for another time, about Mike McCarthy and whether he gets that same deference with regard to the injuries. We'll have that conversation at some point. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, we dive into the brain of Bryan Broaddus. We'll do that when we come back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Don't put off getting your oil changed, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. They're so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's stay-in-your-car 10-minute oil change at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. That means you won't even have time to show off your best touchdown celebration. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to the break.
LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game, but don't take our word for it. Digital Trends said the LG OLED G4 has the best picture quality they've ever seen. See it for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
Welcome back. Second segment of the break live from SWBC Mortgage Studios. At the start of the segment, brought to you by blockchain.com. All right, so blockchain, take us into the brain of Bryan Broaddus.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Nick Harris, currently the most important offensive player, CeeDee Lamb or Rico Dowdle?
Rico Dowdle, I would say currently for sure. You look at what he's done to help sustain drives for Cooper Rush. I think he's been more of a benefit to Cooper Rush than CeeDee Lamb has been, and that's no discredit to CeeDee Lamb. It's more of a credit to Rico Dowdle, winning the time of possession battle against teams that run the ball really well in Carolina. Keeping that offense off the field from Cincinnati. You're one, executed block punt away from winning that game because of being able to win the time of possession battle and stay in front. So I'd have to give it to Rico Dowdle. He's been great over these last few weeks, and it's helping this overall offense.
Ambar Garcia, currently the most important offensive player, CeeDee Lamb or Rico Dowdle?
Currently, as this weekend?
Currently.
Define currently. I don't like this question because, this
That's
is what
the
you
whole
do.
idea.
That's the point of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on. Let me process this. I
Currently, process this, please.
I would like to say, fine, I'll go with the running game. I'll go with Rico because, and this is taking into account that Cooper Rush threw 3 touchdown passes to 3 different targets. Mm-hmm. So, because initially my thought is okay, what do you have at receiver, really? What have you been producing there?
Yeah.
Not a whole lot.
Right.
But then also now that it's kind of opening things up, it's due to Rico Dowdle and moving the chains through the running game. So as of right now, in this moment, in this second, I'll go with Rico. What are you looking at me like that for? Is it CeeDee? Go ahead.
It's CeeDee. It's CeeDee. I'll take you back to this game, right? Cowboys offense
go after
had kind of been floundering a little bit.
Go after him.
And then what happened?
What happened?
There was one drive, the first scoring drive. What happened? Third down, 3 times on that drive.
3 times?
CeeDee. That's the difference.
What
and
have
by
you
the way,
been saying this whole season? Run the football.
Yes.
No. Rico, use Rico.
No.
Rico.
What you have to realize. What you have to realize.
Derek,
What you have to realize is on this team. Okay, I'll put it to you like this. Take away CeeDee. You think Rico's getting much on the ground?
Yes.
How? Well, if defenses say we don't have to worry about CeeDee Lamb,
Yeah.
how are they going to run the ball?
I don't think
This is not a dominant offensive line. This is a good offensive line when they play at their best. They're not dominant. So if defenses say we're going to put 8 guys in the box, we're not worried about anybody on the back end. We're going to man up across the board. How do you think they're going to run the ball?
There have been some first down opportunities where CeeDee has been off the field in recent weeks.
Fair.
And Rico has been able to produce. That's what comes to mind when I think about that. And talking about, okay, Rico wouldn't have any opportunities if CeeDee is on the field. I do see where you're coming from in that sense, but I disagree.
I'm not saying if he's on the
it's
field.
been more of an upfront situation with this offensive line. Truthfully, it's because of the offensive line. I'm saying Rico Dowdle in this instance. I think they would still be able to pave lanes with the way that they are blocking
Against an 8-man front regularly.
Yeah.
I don't think
he's not getting the yards he's getting right now,
I don't think they would consistently do that over a game. And I get what you're saying, a player or two whenever when one may be on the field and the other's off, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think if a defense goes into a game knowing we don't have to deal with CeeDee Lamb, it changes how they look at the Dallas Cowboys offense. At that point, they're like, guess what? We're going to man up. And Cooper Rush, if you're good enough with these receivers to be able to beat us in man coverage, great, go for it. But at the end of the day, we're not going to let you run. And I think if they said we're not going to let you run, they would stop the Dallas.
I think it's okay.
Offense.
Looking at both, you're taking CeeDee all day. Like if you got to choose, yes, absolutely.
Currently,
yes, absolutely. But the point is, it just goes back to you being
now
able
she knows what
to.
Currently is.
Okay, Brian, you know what you're doing.
I know
you
what
started this.
Great players make a difference. We're acting like they don't.
But the point goes back to right now what's happening with the game. The reason why you've been able to start doing a few little things offensively is because you started running the ball. And it doesn't go back to Rico. I'm saying just the ability to run the ball. Obviously, CeeDee.
Not even ability, just commitment to it. Commitment to it, right. And I agree with that. But my point still remains in the NFL, as is the case in the NBA, as is the case in Major League Baseball, players matter. When you have great players, it affects how the other team has to deal with you. And right now, you look at this offense. Right now, as it's currently constituted, how many great players are on this offense? Not good players, great players are on this offense. One. Who is he?
CeeDee Lamb. You're right. You're
How
100%
about the
right.
left guard?
And I was like,
I'll take the left guard. Yeah, I'll take the left guard.
I'm not to discredit CeeDee Lamb, like, because he would easily be number 2 in this
I'm surprised you
situation.
didn't fight for Hunter Lipke as a great player there.
Yeah, he just
He
hasn't
was
got
thinking,
touches.
no, he paused for a second. He was thinking
like,
how can I
he
make
just
that
hasn't
argument?
got touches. They need to get my guy touches. He is a great player, absolutely. And if we're looking at the totality of it, like you said, we're taking CeeDee Lamb. But if we're talking about right now specifically, looking at these last 3 weeks, looking at the impact that Rico Dowdle has made for this offense as compared to the impact that CeeDee Lamb has made to this offense throughout the year, even, what we can even look at these last 3 weeks too, I would take Dowdle. I mean, it's like Dowdle, Lamb, everyone else. I mean,
fair,
in there too,
but I would flip those two, and I think Dowdle's up there. And don't get me wrong, I think Dowdle has played a role really well this year, or at least when they wanted to use him like that. And I'm as big of me and Brian said back during training camp. We both were agreed. If they give him the ball, if they're willing to commit to him, he's more than enough at the running back.
I think we said
more
we're
than
at 1,200 yards.
Yeah,
I think
more than enough. And right now he's where?
And you kind of gave us that. Oh,
is he?
1,200 yards.
Where is he right now? Like, where is he?
He's at 880.
880. He's gonna get 12. Well,
he's the next 3 weeks
maybe.
But yeah,
that's 320 yards. He's had like 397.
So a couple weeks ago, when they were not running the ball, doing nothing, you say CeeDee
look, CeeDee is still the centerpiece of this offense. They needed to commit to running the ball because when they run the ball, when they're committed to running the ball, it creates opportunities for CeeDee to do what he does. Because now defenses have to at least be respectful of the fact that Dallas will run the ball.
Yeah.
When they weren't running the ball, then it was just basically like we can take CeeDee away and they're not going to do anything else.
You're not wrong, and I agree. But currently, right now, one answer is slightly better than the other, and that's mine and Nick's answer.
All right.
I'll tell you what, we're going to find out a lot about what the respect that Rico Dowdle's starting to gain around the league going into this week.
Yeah.
Don't want to get ahead of Wednesday and Thursday, but this Tampa Bay defense, they stop the run really well.
Yep.
But they can't stop the pass.
But they cannot stop the pass. So where do they dedicate their time to? Do they load the box and say, hey, you have to make CeeDee Lamb beat us? Or do they put a couple of guys on CeeDee and say, hey, you have to make Rico Dowdle beat us? And I'd be curious to know what that looks like in the first quarter.
The point is you keep them off balance by doing different things. You move CeeDee around. You see if maybe you can get Dowdle out of space. Like there are things you can do to, no matter which decision they go with, you make it hard on them to make that decision because you're still moving guys around doing different things. So there's a way to defeat it, if Dallas can do it.
Yeah, that's true.
If Dallas can do it, that's the big question. Boy, that was a good.
Thank you, Brian.
That was a success.
That brain of Bryan Broaddus.
Got that one over. I got that one over breakfast this morning. Yeah.
Give me another one.
All right, Derek. Bigger impact on the future of this defense: Marshawn Nealon or Maris Leofau?
Maris Leofau. That's pretty easy for me. I think what we saw this last week was my best hope for him. What I saw of him in college from the things I saw was that he was a playmaker. He was a guy who's always around the ball. And this defense, in my opinion, That's one of the things I think this defense has really lacked for. Even when they were pretty good under Quinn, they didn't really have those playmaking linebackers. And you look across the NFL, and when you get great defenses, they don't just have great pass rushers. They don't just have a great corner or two. They also have somebody in the middle of the defense that can make a difference, that can get to the ball and knock the ball out, that can create turnovers. And so what I'm most excited about right now on this defense is the linebacker position. If Overshown comes back, and I think he will be just as good as he was before, and Maris Leofau there with him, I think Dallas is on to something with those two linebackers. And we've seen when you've got two of those guys, how great your defense can really. San Francisco. Yeah. I was thinking Carolina back when they had Kuechly and what was the other guy's name? Who was with Kuechly?
The short. I'm going way back.
Oh my gosh!
I know. I'm going brain dead too. Kuechly.
He won Man of the Year. NFL Man of the Year.
I know Greg Olsen won it.
The really small guy, the small short linebacker.
I know.
I'll have to look it up. But
Shaq
you got
Thompson played for them.
No, I'm
going way too far because I was going back to Sam Mills and guys like that.
No,
it's like way too far back for that.
I see his face. Thomas Davis. That's who it was. Thomas Davis.
Thomas Davis.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a good linebacker crew. With Kuechly and him, I thought they had a really good tandem there. I think if you get two really good linebackers, and if one of them is special and one's really good, you can do some damage in this league. And I think right now, I look at those two in Overshown and Maris, and I think you can get maybe two great ones.
Ambar, how about that? Marshawn Nealon or Maris Leofau?
This one's easy. I'm disappointed in you, Brian. Great first question. You made it easy. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
I'm not. I love Maris. Like, I absolutely love the guy. He has been so great, and it quickly took a shift because going into training camp after the draft, Nealon was the one that you're excited for, looking for. Then he gets the injury, and that kind of, it sucked. But the moment that Maris got the opportunity, especially with Overshown coming out, he did not miss a beat. And that's what you love. You love to have a guy ready for the moment, and he was ready for the moment, took advantage of it. And you see in the way that he plays, you see the amount of preparation that he has done. You see him, that he puts the work in, he studies, and he's fast and not afraid to tackle. And like Derek said, and going back to what happened this weekend, him punching that ball out, those are the kind of players that you want, that don't only go and tackle and the play is over. Like, you go for the ball, be a, what is it called? Ball hawker?
Yeah, ball hawk.
There you go. An eagle. Ball hawk that ball.
Just like that.
Wait, do it again?
Nah,
it was a one-time special. You have to get it. One-time special. You got to be ready for it.
What do you got there?
Is this more so talking about the future, or is it talking about what we've seen
bigger
so far?
impact in the future of this defense?
Is there a difference?
Yeah. Okay. I was. If we're talking about the season,
future.
Like this year,
I said future.
Talking about the future.
Yeah.
I'm thinking back and forth here because
I love what you're doing right now. By the way,
we haven't seen what Marshawn Nealon can do completely because he hasn't been healthy all year. And I know what Marshawn Nealon did as a college player and what he can bring to the NFL. I feel like he hasn't gotten a fair shot at seeing that yet, whereas Maris Leofau is now starting to get that complete opportunity.
Okay, so real quick, not to interrupt, but I want you to answer this.
Oh,
part
you interrupted.
No, I want you to answer part of it. You said you saw what he did in college. Explain for the folks out there what you mean by that, because that's what you could expect as the very best of him in the NFL.
Yeah, whenever we were talking on the draft show about Marshawn Nealon, compared him to a poor man's DeMarcus Lawrence in the sense that he can seal the edge really well. He plays the run really well. He's big. He's physical. He can overpower undersized offensive tackles or even average-sized offensive tackles and get to the quarterback. The sack numbers haven't really been there for him throughout his entire career, but he does have ability at just making life difficult for opposing quarterbacks. But it's his strength in the run game that I think is really really fun. And if you're looking at Maris Leofau, you also kind of see a well-rounded player, but maybe with more so an emphasis on the run game that we've seen in the NFL so far. Him being able to fill running lanes and be very decisive in doing that. I'm gonna say Leofau, but I am not discounting the fact that Nealon hasn't been healthy.
know.
I'm not riding the fence.
You were
I'm
making
saying
such a good argument, and
I'm
then
saying
you went.
Leo.
Brian wanted you to go. He wanted you to go Nealon.
I'm
He
saying
really did.
Leofau. I am saying Leofau. But
You made such a good argument for that edge.
I'm giving Nealand a little bit more credit here.
Okay, so Brian, let me ask you this question. Both of you guys, Amber, jump into.
Yeah.
Here's the question.
Ceiling floor on this.
But let's see.
Yeah.
You just said you compared him to a poor man's Tank Lawrence, right?
Yeah.
Let's assume he becomes Tank Lawrence.
Yeah.
Give me a comp for what you think, based on what you've seen, on what you think Maris Leofau can become.
Man.
Because you're giving him best case scenario. What's best case scenario for Maris Leofau?
What did I got to look at what my comp was for him last year coming out.
Could he be like, if you're doing Cowboys?
Anybody. You give me
could he be like Brady James? Maybe a more.
No
He seems like
disrespect to
he's
Brady
more
James, but I feel like
playmaker
his ceiling's a little bit higher than Brady
Brady.
James. Let me cook on this.
All right.
Let me steam on this.
The reason why is because I hear what you're saying about Tank, and I have a feeling if his
Boy, they
career
didn't like my Brady James comparison.
if his career plays out exactly like Tank's, I think Tank is very underrated because he doesn't have the sacks. And at defensive end, when you don't have the huge number of sacks, then you don't get the same level of respect.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
But if you're a linebacker that's a playmaking linebacker, you're going to have those splash plays. You're going to have those plays everybody. So in a lot of people's minds, if that's the case, Maris would be a higher ranked player than Nealand would be.
Yeah, see, to me, I don't know. Are we kind of is this the ceiling for Maris, the way he's playing?
Brian,
I don't think this is the ceiling for him.
What the heck? First year, come on. What do you mean the ceiling?
No, I mean, sometimes players they play at their best level.
That's who they are when they come in?
That's who they are.
Nah, I see a brighter future for him.
Okay, I'm glad
under
you
the
do.
scheme.
Seeing
under
you're
the
wearing sunglasses, I hope you're seeing a brighter future.
It's so bright that it's blinding me. I mean, no, I think also it helps the scheme. And like when you talk about having a guy like,
I think this guy's going to become a good pass rusher. By the way,
I do too.
Yes,
By the way, I'm not taking anything away from him.
Yeah.
I just wonder if we're looking at Maris and we're going to look up 3 years from now, and you're looking at Maris and Demo and saying that is the best linebacker tandem in the NFL. And if you're doing that, I don't know if Nealand's going to be on that level.
Gotcha.
Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our final break.
Right.
I love these questions so much. We're going to do a double dose. We're going to come back and continue with
I
these
got just
questions.
one other
All right,
question.
We're going to do that when we come back.
Okay.
We're going to do it when we come back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a Pepper thing.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to the break.
We're continuing inside the brain of Bryan Broaddus. He's got one more question for us. Bryan, what you got?
AG, rank these offensive linemen in level of play.
Hold on, let me pull up my. Go ahead.
In level of play, Guyton, Smith, BB, who am I going to put at right guard? Hoffman. I was kind of thinking maybe I'll put him in there. I was going to put more.
Okay.
Hoffman and Steele. Guyton, Smith, BB, Hoffman, Steele.
Okay.
Rank them as a level of play.
Okay.
We're talking about this season?
Yeah.
No, last year.
I didn't know if we're talking about like career-wise, last couple weeks.
Almost said a bad word on air.
I'm being
You almost said one.
All right, let me process this. I would go with Smith first.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I'm battling with is excitement versus looking at the whole year, like what it's been. With that being said, I'm talking about Hoffman specifically, just because he brings a different level of excitement that you're like, okay, you've seen this type of aggressiveness that you kind of have lacked for a little bit. It's just something different to have in there. But also sometimes I think about he's a little too aggressive. It's like, okay, calm down a little bit too. But Smith, I'm going to go with potentially BB next, and then Hoffman, Steele, and Guyton.
How about you, Derek?
You know, ironically, I did the exact same thing. And the only part I was a little bit torn on is I was torn between Guyton and Steele, whether I thought Guyton was a bit better than Steele. But I think what pushed me over the top is
penalties are a problem there.
Exactly. And I also think the last couple of weeks have kind of given me a little more towards Steele. Like,
Steele's played well the last
he's been pretty
weeks.
good these last
Since
couple weeks.
they made the change at right guard,
Right,
he's
exactly.
played
So
better.
it makes me wonder how much that was affecting his play. So I'm giving him a little bit more deference there. So that's kind of how I would go: Smith, BB, Hoffman, Steele, Guyton.
I also want to give credit to Steele in the run game. I feel like he's been really strong in the run
Sure,
game.
you want to do that?
Yeah. I am sure this time. I had the same order as well. I'd be going Smith, BB, Hoffman, Steele, Guyton.
Is Guyton the issue? Like I say, would Guyton, if he had not had the penalties, the holdings, the lining ups, the things like that, would you give him more? Or are you just saying?
I agree.
He's also boom or bust at times, though, where it's like he's great against Cleveland, and then he has some severe breakdowns against. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head where it was just a bad game for him. Yeah, Saints is. Yeah, I mean, may as well just go to the next week. Where it's just like, man, how did he allow that to happen?
Yeah. I thought Guyton was, this might sound weird, but I thought he was actually better than I expected him to be this year. I thought, as bad as the penalties were, I thought they were going to be even worse. Because in camp, literally, it seemed like every rep, his hands were outside. I was like, he's going to get flagged every play. Like, literally every play, he's going to have a holding call. And it wasn't that bad. Like, he had some penalties. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And so I still have hope that he's going to be a really good NFL player. I wonder if it may be on the right side versus the left. But I still have hope he's going to be a really good player. And then when you talk about BB, I think BB, in my opinion, was every bit what I thought he was going to be, which is a really good player so far as a rookie. The expectation for him is that now he's going to be competing as one of the better centers in the NFL. If they keep him at center, they might move him to guard. My expectation is if he moved to guard, he'd probably be just as good there. So either way, I think he's going to be a really good player.
Real quick, just maybe a yes or no answer. Were they wrong not starting Hoffman the whole year at center?
And putting BB at guard?
Or BB being a swing guy or being the guard. Yeah, the backup guy. You know, like he could have been now the role that Hoffman has.
I don't know if I think that. I think BB's been fine. Like, I think BB has played well. So I think getting him reps as a rookie and he played well is a great thing. That's better. That's better for me than Hoffman being in there and maybe not seeing an appreciable difference between the two.
I wonder if Hoffman playing 16 or 17 weeks is a good thing.
Yeah.
Is Hoffman playing 5 weeks a good thing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
In what way? What are you getting at there?
Well, he gets broken down.
I got you.
That he plays really, really well. He's fresh for 5-6 weeks. And then week 7, week 8, he starts to get beat up and get wore down and is not as effective.
Yeah.
Well, I did ask him last week. I was like, this is the first time in your career you've been able to stack.
Nick's doing his job. That's what he does.
That's good.
Push my glasses up. I asked him last week, you've been able to stack games for the first time in your career.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've gotten better over the course of these games? He does feel like he's playing his best football right now.
There
And
you
his body is in good
No,
shape.
no, that's
But
what I'm saying.
You're right. 17 games. That looks
You
a lot
wonder,
different
you
than
wonder
4.
if what he would have been at center for 17 games.
Yeah.
Would he have been broken down? You know, that kind of thing. But
I love what they got from BB. I think he's been a really good player for them, and I think that experience is invaluable as a rookie.
All right, thank you guys.
Yeah.
All right, that was good stuff, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
I tried. It only took
Once
me to
in a while.
Took me to week 16, but here we are.
All right, we appreciate you guys, Jonas.
Me and
We'll be
Mike
back
McCarthy.
tomorrow. Tomorrow we dive in. This is going to be the gauntlet, these 3 games. It starts with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tomorrow we'll start breaking down that team, the Tampa Bay offense versus the Cowboys defense. Till then, for Nick Harris, Bryan Broaddus, and Ambar Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?